So apparently there's been some drama that I missed this morning while I was co-streaming the PBE Masters tournament, and it was on Twitter. So we're going to have to, unfortunately, I hope you guys have your eye protective goggles on, but we're going to have to log on to twitter.com and read some of this. Hopefully I've mitigated some of it because I put dark mode on, but we're going to do a dramatic reading of it. Okay, so this is by Minute Gaming. So at 4:09 a.m. Pacific on March 17th, Sunday morning, 4 a.m., Mortdog tweeted, last PB stream and round of personal tennis testing before it goes live. Going to chase that fortunate experience and find out what to nerf before we go live. Let's go. So Mortdog excited to stream at 4 a.m. Hey, some people can't even wake up at 11 a.m. for tournaments. Mortdog waking up at 4 a.m. to stream as he faithfully does. Good. Iguana replies, top 16 play today. You are invited to watch it. We have an observer prepared for you. The 16 best. I mean, this was a really hyped tournament. A lot of great players, right? We have Malala Disso from NA, but this is like the CN Avengers. Really good players from EMEA. And like a lot, like collectively, this is like at least, I'm just going to say like 15 to 20 world championship appearances, world championship titles with Hwanmei and Malala. Like a lot of really, really good players. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any other replies for me to go through. So that was what was first tweeted. Minute quote tweets and says, my dear Mort, you know this is happening yesterday and today. 48 best players from all regions are facing each others with 12 co-streams in different languages. This is the best set 11 test possible. You have been invited to give support and ignored it. What about stop, quote, chasing the fortune experience, end quote, for today and help the community as the leader you are supposed to be, question mark. Blush for real. So right away, you guys probably know exactly what I'm going to say, is that this sounds really entitled. Like, I think, okay, so I'll say two things. One, I naturally have a lot of empathy for people who have English as a second language and try to communicate in English, because I think English is really hard, and I think there's a lot of nuance to parse. That being said, the tone of this is like really off across the board. There's a few things. The first thing is Mort is not the balance team. Mort, you even said it yourself. He is like, you know, or what was it actually? I think it was before. Someone said, I think before, as like the design lead. But Mortdog doesn't really head balance, right? Which is, I think, what a lot of people are hoping to get from this tournament. This tournament tells you what units are OP or need to be buffed. It tells you what traits need to be tweaked. If there's bug testing, right? If there's design, the design flaws and things of that nature, which is stuff that Mort should theoretically touch. I mean, remember, he's a director. He's not actually doing it and fixing himself, which he does do, by the way. Mort actually takes it upon himself to sometimes even fix bugs himself. He doesn't have to do it, but the reason why he does it is because, one, he's really damn good at it, and two, he's very passionate about it. So again, I don't want to say it's beneath him, but he doesn't have to do this. And so this is like you're barking up the wrong tree. The second thing is, in some ways, this PB stream of Mortdog testing it himself is really valuable because he gets to personally experience the player perspective, which is what is much more important than maybe the tournament perspective, because Mortdog playing PBE and TFT is going to affect potentially the millions of players' experience, the average player experience for the first set of games of TFT, and that is potentially paying way more dividends for what the player can experience for set 11, right? Because not everyone has played 50, 100 games of PB like a lot of these players have. So that's the second layer. The third layer of why this is misguided is it's the freaking weekend, man. This is his time off. And yes, Mort chooses to put himself in front of everybody by streaming and putting a lot of content out, right? Mortdog doesn't have to wake up at 4 a.m. and stream. It's something he's opting into. And it's not like he doesn't benefit from it. Mortdog has a great amount of presence. He has a lot of subs and he has a great community, and deservedly so. But it is his weekend. It is his time. And this is what he's choosing to do when he's not working Monday to Friday, right? When he's not working, he's on Saturday and Sunday. And so the problem with this request is the way it's communicated and the way it's framed. I don't think it's wrong to want more to watch the tournament, right? And in some ways, I can understand why Minute is thinking this is the best set 11 possible test. But I just think this is like really poorly communicated. Because the way it's even said, like, what about stop doing this thing, and as if it's not important, which, by the way, apparently it is. I don't know if you guys saw in the previous thread. I can pull it up actually. Clement actually did a great tweet on China Mobile's revenue, whereas he said the sneak peek of the future of TFT. This is actually mind blowing, by the way. But the mobile revenue of China TFT's mobile game Fight for the Golden Spatula is second on the entire app store behind Honor of Kings, but nothing touches Honor of Kings. That thing makes like $6 billion. If you scroll down, it literally has made, or actually the player base of this, 100 million signups, 15 million daily active users, which, by the way, outside of China, TFT has 33 million monthly users. They're talking about 15 million daily users, and has earned 4.8 billion RMB, which roughly translates to $600 million. So this fortune experience is not trivial. It's actually kind of important because, as you guys know, China loves two things: League of Legends and gambling. Those are two of their biggest passions. So like, it's a really, really important thing to nail correctly, the fortune experience. If you were to lean into that argument of why it's actually very important. And then I don't like this. Like this feels like guilt tripping. Help the community as the leaders you're supposed to be. Again, I know English is not the first language, so I'm willing to give a pass on wording, but I think the sentiment and tone is really wrong. And it looks like a lot of people are jumping onto him. Kevin Parker replies, "The tone of his post screams condescending and entitled. Mort is free to do whatever he wants, and if he feels like playing some games, it is his good right. LOL doesn't make him any less of a quote leader." And that's a hard agree from me. Medusa says, "It's not my tournament, Kevin. I win nothing. I would just love more pushing community events as big as this one. Not the first time this happens. For example, Latam. Oh, whoa. Is there like background drama that I'm not aware of? Of course, Mort's free to do whatever he wants despite it. He does a great job." So my interpretation of this scenario is that I think Manute thinks it's an innocent question, but the way he phrased this was quite poor, and I think it rubs English speakers the wrong way, as it should, because I think it's very poorly worded. Okay, and then that was the quote tweeted thing. For me, a company like Riot should have excellent employees in all field it needs, with extensive experience in the world of work. I hate that world, but it's a world we live in. But I also think that it would be important to have a percentage of true competitive geeks. Okay, I mean, I just want to put it out here. TFT has a lot of true competitive geeks. In fact, I feel like we could have some other type of players besides true competitive geeks in TFT. Just saying. And the game itself on balanced teams. I mean, they are, though. They literally hired someone who hit rank 1, Inigo, on the team. But I digress. I'm amazed at what Freak was doing for... Whoa! Wait a second! There's a player on Twitter who appreciates what Freak is doing for League of Legends. Whoa! We found somebody! Oh my god! I didn't even realize people like this guy existed. If you guys follow League of Legends, you would be hard-pressed to find anybody saying Freak is doing nice at League of Legends about anything. And I'm not saying that's because I agree with it. I'm just saying he's getting torched all the time to the point where Freak has quit social media, I think, repeatedly because of what it was doing to his mental health. Like, people are being incredibly unfair in general to Freak, and obviously League of Legends players known for their rational, mature, and sane responses to slight imbalances in Summoner's Rift, gave Freak some criticism, and now Freak has decided to take a break from social media. Anyways, I'm getting off track. I'm amazed at what Freak was doing for LoL. It's true that screenshots have appeared of him building horribly, but having a balance and pointing fighting against challenger is good for the game. It shows interest and gives that person a much better vision of how the ecosystem works. When I see Mortdog or Leo Faria, I can't help but think about how disconnected they are from the community of hardcore players. Thinks, decides, and what they want, which is often underestimated. Oh my god. Oh wow. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. So first of all, we're equating Mortdog and Leo. If you guys don't know who Leo is, I'll go ahead and open up another Twitter tab. Sorry to expose you guys this much to toxins. Hope you guys put on your radioactive suit wear. Leo is the head of Valorant Esports. He's a global head of Valorant Esports. So again, two very different people doing very different jobs. But Leo is under fire because of the way the Valorant competitive system is structured. This is because Valorant Esports, if you guys don't know, is working on a franchise global system that divides it into, you guessed it, Americas, Asia Pacific, EMEA, and Actually, I think that might be it. So basically, they created a global league, and within each global league is a region, and you compete in this region within, I believe, an upper bracket and a lower bracket in order to qualify for the majors, which is the Valorant Masters. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat. And basically what ends up happening is if you lose twice in the entire split or season, you're just out. And so people who are a big fan of like 100 Thieves or Sentinels or Loud or FPX or whatever team you're a big fan of, if they lose twice, their season's just over. And that's like, and you have to wait for the next split, right? And a lot of people feel like that's just not enough games for Valorant. Like I can't, and also a lot of orgs are like, we signed this roster, we practice, we play 2 series, and we're just out. So a lot of people were like saying like, this is a terrible system for fans of specific teams. If you watch every single match of Valorant, sure, there's a lot of Valorant to be played, but the reality is no one's a fan of like every team, right? So that a lot of people were like criticizing specifically Valorant, and Leo's the guy who's answering everybody. And so it looks like he's connecting Mortdog to Leofaria, which is, again, quite asinine in terms of like the esports and Mortdog, because it feels like at this point, what's happening, in my view, is that people think Mortdog is a syndicate. Like he's not a person anymore. Mortdog is Stephen Mortimer, the human, and the guy that's the lead design principal. They think Mortdog is the balance team. They think Mortdog is the design team. They think Mortdog is the esports team. And they think Mortdog is also the head of finance, the guy that's choosing to charge for chibis and the treasure realm systems. They're thinking Mortdog is all these people, which I don't know. Maybe have you seen? Maybe there's multiple Mortdogs, and I don't know. That would be the greatest TFT conspiracy of all time. But unfortunately, I don't think he's omnipotent and omnipresent. I think he only can be one. And as we know, Mortdog is the former. I don't think he can be omnipotent and omnipresent. He is all knowing, though. He is all knowing, unless of course it's a bug that hasn't been reported. In that case, he does not. So the big problem with this is that he's not Leo, and the equivalent of Leo is Michael Sherman. If you want to levy criticism ever of TFT esports, the guy you're looking for is Michael Sherman, the global head of TFT and 2XKO. Are we still calling it that? I guess it is what it is. So, for example, when people have a lot of words about the Latam Americas Brazil circuits, like this is the guy you want to talk to. One reply. Is there any quote tweets? No quote. Yeah, okay. If you guys are adding Mortdog for this changes, this is the guy you want to talk. But unfortunately, we're picking on the guy who's the most visible for that. And I think the reason why this needs to stop, this is how we lose access to Mortdog. This is how we get more. This is how people like Mortdog quit. I'm not saying just him, but like if you choose to do it to anybody, this is how we lose them. This is how they no longer want to do this anymore, or it's not worth it because yes, there's a lot of great benefits to being Mortdog, but there's also it's never worth your mental health. When I see Mortdog or Leofaria, I can't help but think about how disconnected they are from the community. Okay, also, and another thing. This guy already hit Challenger. And even if Mortdog hits Challenger again, he already has hit Challenger again, or once before. Then what? He impresses a group of like 200 players, maybe. There's probably a handful of Challenger players that would prefer. Okay, put it this way: he can do 2 things. He can hit Challenger, or he can work on the game. Because as you guys know, hitting Challenger doesn't necessarily mean, one, that you know shit about how to fix the game. Just putting it out there. There's a lot of Challenger players who give terrible suggestions about how to fix the game. And you just have to trust me on this one. There's a lot of people who are Challenger and they don't know the first clue about how to fix any problem or bugs or anything like that. So, and then 1. 2, if you're playing the game, what's the average amount of games for a Challenger player? Just putting it out there. Okay, I am the definition of an average Challenger player, and I played 562 games, which is not a lot. But let's just say that I'm the quintessential Challenger player, right? Like that's it. I'm an average Challenger player. I'm nothing more. I played 562 games, and let's just say I go 8th every single time because okay, that's impossible. You can't go 8th and beat Challenger. But let's say I am literally like 50% top 4 rate. And I just get there. Let's just say it takes 30 minutes on average per game, and we're not even gonna count queue times, right? 30 minutes is fine. I get top 4, I FF every single time. This is how many minutes it takes, right? Divided by 60, 281 hours. 281 hours. Divide that by the amount of work weeks you have, 7 weeks straight of just playing the game. 7 weeks playing. This is time not spent actively fixing and working on the game. Because after you play, it's not just you play the game and then you're like, okay, I can fix it in 10 seconds. You have to actually do things to work on it and fix the game. And again, this is generous calculations. 7 weeks of the game that of work time, productivity you want to take away. Of the lead guy who can be doing way more. Again, it's not his job, but even if it was his job, you want him to spend that much time. And you're saying 560 games is a lot. I mean, it is a lot for a lot of people, but that's me playing what I feel like is the minimal amount to stay engaged with the set and the game patch to patch. Some of the promotion and acceptance problems that TFT has as an esport, I am sure, could be addressed much better and without spending many resources.
I'm getting Mortdog again.
If the developer was simply in contact with the people who spend 10 hours a day with the game. Okay, let's assume that this is true. He is. And again, not just him. I can't actually, I don't think I'm allowed to show who, because this would be technically leaking, but there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 rioters in a Discord server with players who are on there yapping about the game. And by the way, I just want to put it out there as well. They don't all say the same thing. Do you know the biggest problem with this part of the sentence? The people who spend 10 hours a day with the game. You know what the biggest problem is? They all want different things. They spend 10 hours a day and they are so stubborn and convinced that their perspective is right. And they all want different things. Some people want like the hyper competitive. I like the top 0.001% cater to it. And then there's like reasonable players who are like, you know what? I play the game and I really want to have fun with it. Like Aces in chat. Asa is a good player who like often is contrarian people. Like Ace is like, I don't mind more of these 4 fun portals, and I don't mind like doing all this stuff because like I think that's something that I enjoy and I think I'm good at, right? And so all these players want different things. And so if you were to listen, if they literally listen to all these players who spend 10 hours a game and try to make all of them happy, they'll make nobody happy. And then you have Diablo 4. Nobody wants Diablo 4. And then you become Blizzard. Let's not go that far. Okay, anyways, it's a small joke at the expense of a franchise I love deeply. I say this because I really love the Diablo series. And I don't know about you, but I basically haven't played Diablo 4 for months. The same with Tier 2 of Valorant or its competitive calendar. I'm sure that by asking anyone who cares about the game in the slightest, they would be able to identify many problems that the game is facing now and see possible solutions. The problem I have with this paragraph, man, I'm picking issues. I'm picking on this guy a lot, okay? And okay, I want to say one thing, that this is not about him specifically, but I've seen arguments like this. I'm glad. You know what this is? This is almost like a chat GPT AI summary of every bad take on r/competitive TFT I've ever read. Like this is a perfect tweet to encapsulate everything. It's not about him. It's about the argument, okay? I've read so many comments like this. TFT is not Valorant. Valorant and TFT sort for different things and they optimize for different things. The one thing that TFT and Valorant have in common is that they are at all times trying to extract money from your wallet. That is literally the only thing they have in common that should be shared at Riot Games. It's entirely different player bases that want different things. It's entirely different goals, different metrics in which they view, they measure things like their competitive ecosystem. Even things like stream numbers, right? You like, yes, you can say Valorant's more popular on Twitch, but TFT is trying to do something that's fundamentally different. Valorant, while it is a game, like it's a shooter game, it's trying to be hyper competitive. They're trying to select a few teams and elevate them on a single stage. And they're trying to help Gen Zers find a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Like that's the things that Valorant is trying to do. TFT says we want to cast a wide net for like as many players as we can get. We want you to relax. It's not hyper competitive. It's a fun cooldown game because after you go through the trauma known as playing Summoner's Rift, you need to sit back and relax a little bit. What do? Oh, I'll queue up a game of TFT and hey, I finally get to play like my champion without being harassed all the time. I can just slash deafen and enjoy the game. And I don't have to socialize, right? Valorant, you have to listen to comms. You have to listen to be like, oh, heal me, mommies. Okay, right away, daddy, right? Like all this like random weird e-flirtations going around you, you can just ignore it. TFT is for loners. You don't have to make any friends. You definitely don't have to make any mating rituals. You can just mind your own business. They're trying to do different things. Yeah, so we covered why Valorant needs to not be necessarily the same as TFT. I sincerely believe that a resume and the previous experience in certain positions is desirable, but I will always trust more in a team that has people with passionate for what they do supporting these professionals I am talking about. Was this translation accurate? I have some Spanish speakers. I mean, okay, you guys can read it, but I'm pretty sure the translation was pretty accurate. And then some people are replying, thank you. This one Spanish speaker says, Mortdog, Yaha, Legado, Challenger, and otros sets. I think this means that Mortdog has hit Challenger in other sets. Es el director de TFT en general no tiene el tiempo como para grandear y mantener el rango más alto de juego mientras hace su trabajo. Man, this guy's actually summarizing my entire argument in Spanish. This is not my alt account, I swear. But yeah, basically saying the director of TFT doesn't have time for this. Bryce replied, my co-host on my podcast, Don't Talk If You Know, actually chimed in, replied, what in the actual fuck? You are not entitled to Mortdog support for a TFT event, full stop. Oh man, when Bryce capitalizes full stop, he's pissed. Mort choosing to do his regular streams or schedule stream and play this game is his personal choice. That doesn't mean he's ignoring the learnings of the tournament. Tons of pros are watching and relaying their balanced feedback. Mort does so much to support side events and to put on his own, not to mention his support of the main competitive circuit. Of all the criticisms to come at Mort with, this may be the dumbest. Can I get a W flame in chat? Man, this is why you can trust the glaze, because this guy is ready to turn that glaze into straight up flame. The sad part is it's a really cool event, maybe the most stacked field in the history of the game. I'd love to see the event continue, and it wouldn't have surprised me to see more support, more activity in the future. In addition to his more than full-time job and all the things he does for the community/game. But now I would never touch it if I were him. Man, it's a really good summary of it. Mort doesn't have to touch it, but you know what? He probably will. You know why? Because he still talks to Delicious Milk GG. He still is willing to listen to Setsuko Unmuted. I mean, all things considering, yes, this is overstepping. Yes, this is completely uncalled for. Terribly communicated, whatever, well written, misguided, whatever you want to say. But if there's one thing I've known about Mortdog is he gives other chances. One thing I will never doubt him on, and I always admire immensely, is his capacity to sit down and listen to the other side, regardless of kind of the reasons he has to not listen to them. Mort replies. Wait, to who? Wait. Twitter.com/Mortdog. Your home for all things news until we hit tfthub.com. 1 minute ago. Oh my God, this is hot off the press. Oh my God, real-time drama. Right, Mort? So, it seems some folks were upset with me not observing and participating in watching the awesome PBE tournament that was happening this weekend. Allow me a moment to say my piece. I'll give you a few. First, I actually apologize that I missed a lot of the DMs around this. Oh my God, he's starting off by saying sorry. Right now, between the work on finalizing Inkborn's Fables, as well as other TFT work I can't talk about yet, and just IRL stuff. Whoa, Mortdog has a real life, you guys. What a flex. Can you believe this guy? I'm ultra busy at the moment, and that's causing me to miss stuff. I didn't see the DMs about this. That's on me. My schedule has been rough lately, though, and it's tiring, but gotta press on. Second, one thing that is very important to me as a designer is that I actually experience things we ship. With this set in particular, I haven't had as much exposure on every aspect. So for the last 2 weekends, I did long streams. I also play loft stream. I want to make sure we're shipping the best set possible, and that is priority number 1 to me right now. So for this instance, we likely have needed to decline. That being said, I did go back post-stream yesterday and watch the games. Agree the tournament was valuable and was fascinating to see which builds did well. It helped confirm a few suspicions about certain builds, since PB data is generally unreliable and will likely inform any possible changes for the A patch. Finally, for what it's worth in this situation, no bad blood on my end. I get it, and honestly, I love supporting these kinds of changes. If people are okay with it and do this again in the future, I'll do my best to help where I can. I love trying to support the community as much as I can. Sorry if I disappointed anyone. Thanks all, and I look forward to future events like this in the future. All right, so we get the W glaze out of the way first. I mean, again, I said someone has to be an adult in the room. This is being an adult. You know what's not being an adult? Firing back with quippy one-liners and trying to burn them or flaming them back. And you know what's also not being an adult? Not replying and just kind of like ignore it and just be like, you know what? Hide behind, you know, mental sanity, which again, it's a viable and a valuable thing to protect your mental health, right? Like doing all stuff. But he owns up to it, he confronts it, and he also approaches it from a position of humility, right? He apologizes because he recognizes that there was something that he missed, which is the DMs, and then talks about what he can do. Or he talks about like what he is doing and what he needs to do, which is focus on the sets, right? Which is what I was talking about. But from the player experience, it is very valuable for him to touch and feel the game. But he also apparently is going back and watching the games. Ultimately, isn't that what you want? Want him to watch the games? There is one element that we haven't spoke about, which is I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but if you look at Teamfight Tactics under the category, not the channel. Oh, no, this is the channel. Sorry. Yeah, Teamfight Tactics, 0 viewers. Now, that would be kind of alarming if that was the case. If you guys look at it, Mortdog is actually one of the most... He is... In the past week, he is the most popular TFT streamer. I was looking down. I'm like, where's Mort? Usually he's like here. He is the most popular TFT streamer right now, based off watch time. There's other metrics you can judge off of. And one, that I'm awesome. I'm happy for him. You know, it's great. And you could argue whether or not developers should or should not be trying to do that. That's another discussion for another time. But the reality is he contributes a lot. He participates. He gives back a lot. And so I think there's an element of them which is saying like we know and love Mort for what he does. I mean, look, even Minute in his quote criticism, I'm putting that because I don't think he intended to, but he ended up doing that. He said, Mortdog's free to do what he wants, and despite it, he does a good job. It looks like the sentiment is everyone's like, yeah, he does a great job. We would love him to support it as well. I think a lot of this is because they see what Mort does and says, hey, here, like, you could go above and beyond in this situation. The thing is, man, he already does. Amazing. Amazing. We don't deserve Mort, but he chooses to proceed anyways. And again, it's kind of like a mutual thing, right? The more love we show and the more love that the dev team shows us, it's not just Mort, it's everybody, right? Mort, Kent, Alice came and showed up on my co-stream for Worlds. You know, a bunch of the folks and designers at Riot, they all really love and embrace the community, and they all do a great job. The TFT dev team, there's a reason why they get so much love. There's some people who like roll their eyes and just like, oh my God. Everyone's like, yeah, circle drink, yeah, you guys love TFT Riot devs. It's because that is what you do when you're in a good relationship. You affirm each other regularly. You don't just say good job one time. You don't say I love you one time, that I care about you one time, because if it's just one time, guess what? The relationship is not maintained. That is why people who actually are sick of this type of like sucking up, licking the boot, whatever, that's why you are terrible at relationships. So we have to continually communicate, because that is how relationships thrive. And that ends our therapy session for today.